Hi, what you're looking at here is the Hanged Man from my Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck. The astrology associated with this card is Pisces and Neptune. In the Kabbalah, it is the path of Mem, which connects Hod to Geburah. It is the 23rd pathway. And the chakra associated with this card is the third eye. And the element associated with this card is water. Numerically, it is key 12, so it is all sums of 12 and 3. The key words associated with this card in an upright position are letting go, sacrificing, pausing to reflect, uncertainty, spiritual development, and it is a maybe card. In reverse, it is discontentment, stagnation, negative patterns, no solution, and fear of sacrifice. So when this card comes up in a reading, it could mean that a loss or a sacrifice has been made for the greater good, and that maybe it's time to let go because you cannot move on until you accept that it is for the greater good. But this card could also be about the waiting game, that now is not the time to be rushing things, whereas in reverse, it could be referring to a time of stagnation. So when I first look at this card, and I know it's a matter of perception, and it does tell me a lot about myself, and I think maybe the same for you, but I see that there's a man hanging, and he looks to be okay, like he's accepted his fate, and he's absolutely fine with it. And then we see a halo. So it's like we know that by looking at this, that whatever sacrifice was made, it was for the greater good, and he has been enlightened because of it. So, and that's what I see when I look at this card. And so I'm very curious, what is it that you see when you first look at this card? So symbolically, we see he's wearing a blue tunic, and the blue tunic, again, to me, I think is symbolic of like meditation, that higher consciousness. I see his legs in a cross position. It looks like it's a 4. And that could be, like an intersection in his life. We see the halo of light, and that's symbolic of enlightenment. The red stockings are maybe passions, keeping him tempered. And then 12. 12 is about cycles. It's 12 months a year, 12 days and nights, 12 signs of the zodiac. So 12 is a super perfect number, the symbol of the Philosopher's Stone. So what do you see in the Hangman? Hi, what you're looking at here is the Death card from my Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck. The astrology associated with this card is Scorpio and Pluto. And the Kabbalah, it is the 24th pathway, the path of none, between Tiferet and Netzach. The chakra association is the sacral chakra. The element is water. So numerically, this is key 13, so it's all sums of 13 and 4. The keywords associated with this card in an upright position are endings, change, transformation, transition, letting go, and release. In reverse, it is resistance to change, personal transformation, repeating negative patterns, stagnancy, and decay. I would say that this is typically a no card, unless it is situational, depending on where the card falls in a spread. The card meaning, if it comes up in a reading, is not or may not mean the literal death of a person, but more the meaning of a symbolic death of something, like a project plan or even a relationship. The reaping skeleton could even represent a time of harvest. So continue to move forward, because there's nothing left to lose. Nothing is ever truly lost, because death is part of a cycle. And in reverse, it could mean it might not be time for closure. So be patient. Harvest cannot happen until the fruit is completely ripened, metaphorically speaking. So symbolically, when I look at this card, I see a lot of representation of death. And I see a lot of esoteric knowledge inside this card that could be representative of much deeper meaning, you know, the cycles that are talked about. So like the Grim Reaper, definitely death. He's in black armor, so he's coming for you. This is death. This is destruction. And one thing I notice is that you know, I'm looking at this and I'm looking from right to left, like the sun, and it looks like here we have you know, things are still alive, so death hasn't met them yet. And then as it moves towards the left, even like down by his foot, there's like, I don't know if that's an arrow or a spike or whatever, but it looks like it's pointing towards, you know, the unknown after death. This is just, you know, what I see. And I think that, you know, that's the great thing about tarot. It is a matter of perception and what we see in these cards. So there's also a black and white rose banner. And Waite writes about this. He says, the mysterious horseman moves slowly, bearing a black banner emblazoned with the mystic rose, which signifies life. And that rose is a symbol of Rosicrucianism, which is a European spiritual movement in the 17th century, which studied esoteric knowledge of the ancient past. Rosicrucianism has also been linked with the Freemasons. And the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn is connected to this society. It was kind of like a spin-off of that society, in which Arthur Waite was a part of. Hence why we have this tarot. So also there is a 5-petaled rose that the Fool holds in his hand. And then also on the helmet is a red feather. This is also, or could be, associated with the Freemasons. This red feather that is in the helmet is also in the Fool card and the Sun. So that links all three of those major arcana cards together. And that feather is symbolic in Freemasonry, as symbolic of the stages of moving through the degrees of Masonry. So, and that is from entered apprentice to fellowcraft and master mason. So the Fool is like emergence, the cosmic egg, you know, death is the rebirth, and Sun is enlightenment. We have the white horse, like, you know, the pale horse that comes in. I get a religious reference there. Even the horse's harness has skulls and crossbones on it. Then we have a king who looks like he's passed, and his cloak looks like it, you know, like it's laid over him, and it almost looks like it's water. So, and then we have a bishop, and then a child and a young woman, and it looks like they're going through stages too. Like the bishop is maybe he's begging for his life, because or maybe for some reason he looks like he's to the side. He's gonna like avoid it because of his spirituality, maybe. Some people have even associated his the hat as being representative of the Piscean age, and then death being the end of an age, and the dawn of the age of Aquarius, which, you know, Aquarius is the water bearer, and there we have water. The young woman is looking away and refusing to look death in the eye. So that says a lot about, you know, she's in denial. The child looks like, you know, she could be praying for death not to take her. So that's kind of like spiritual immaturity, wishful thinking, kind of. The rising sun. Now, Waite writes about this. So, between the two pillars on the verge of the horizon, there shines the sun of immortality. So, and then the twin towers are right in front of it. So, the twin towers, once you walk past those, you are in the land of eternal life. So, what's beyond it could be considered the afterlife. There's a river, and the river could be like the river Styx, which separates Earth from the underworld. And then the red boat could be the ferryman that takes you to the other side. Notice that arrow is pointing that way again. So yeah, you know, there is a lot, and I've probably missed some, and I think that a lot of people might have, you know, their own take on this, and I would be very interested to hear what you see. You know, what do you see?